Let's do this.
Hey, man. Welcome to the Big Bad Broadcast, dude.
Well, welcome to the Big Bad Broadcast. From ducks to roosters to T-Rex, where I got everything going here today. Nothing like getting heckled by a duck. Oh, we got a great show for you today. We got some old friends stopping by, and I think like they stopped by. We have Craig Mitchell.
Hey, everybody.
We have Mike Grief.
Yeah. Hey, this is for Rhonda. This is for you in Florida.
Yeah. And I'm John Fertile, and Mike is going to introduce a friend and a guest to our show.
Well, I'm excited today, man. We got my buddy Rick Overton, who's like, one of the comedy idols. You know, he's been around for many years, and if you don't recognize him, the man has more credits than God. I mean, anyway, let's just bring him. Rick Overton. Rick Overton,
Hey.
welcome, buddy.
Hey, morning. Hello, guys.
Rick,
fellas.
welcome.
Thanks for having me on board.
I didn't know I was introducing you. Otherwise, I would have had something prepared.
I have
Well-
donuts prepared. I have some
Well,
donuts. Sounds good. No.
Well, let's show the clip. Let's show.
Yes.
We have the clip of Rick doing some stuff.
Okay.
On the Mount. Jesus at Comedy Day? Jesus at Comedy Day. I'll be back. I can see your house from here. Joke number 4. Christ, party of 12. Where will we be sitting? What are you having? Oh, we're just having water and bread. That's all? It's not good for you.
We'll cover it. I'll turn it into whatever we need.
Do right now. Look over here, Rick. You've come back from Scotland.
That's right. Look at this. Freedom!
Right there, Braveheart! Greatest fucking movie ever made! Just for that one shot of 4,000 pairs of Scottish balls. Right there, and the little children are going, oh, there are kids. Hi, boys and girls.
You'll have fun. And what did you do over the weekend? Tell the whole class.
4,000 pairs of Scottish balls.
Okay, let's go to the doctor.
Bobby, come in. How is this Skype broadcast going? We're broadcasting on Skype. Give it, Give it. Come in. Come in. Say it. Thanks to AT&T. Just barely receiving.
Absorbing other companies and making them shitty too.
That's right. Moving now. It's not basically a monopoly, it's way beyond that. It's an empire. An empire with bad service. How good is it? It's like a Nerf vibrator. Good luck.
How many of you guys are on your laptop going like, I wonder if it's watching me right now?
Yeah, even if, please put that away.
How?
Too much. Need a larger file.
You're scaring me, Dave. Put it
Dave,
away.
take it out now, slowly. Draw circles on your nipples, Dave. Oh, boys and girls, we've learned another thing from show and tell.
Bring your kids, you take your chances, all right? Time for the crash course in growing up.
And now, people, Michelle Bachmann's husband, I am going to perform an exorcism! And basically, I am going to drive the homosexuality out of you! I'm going to drive it out of you!
Heal me!
Oh!
Heal me next!
I'll take it out right there! Yeah!
Hallelujah! Hallelujah!
Drive it out of you!
And this is why I love Rick Overton so much, because how many comics, and people who don't know, comics do an act that's pre-written, it's this and that. How many people would have the balls to stand up and improv with Robin Williams, number one, And number two, Rick's new special is the whole that it's all an improv show. It's just right on the spot, fresh footy. I mean, like there aren't many comics that have the balls to do what you do, Rick.
Thank you, my friend. That's it. That's special right there. It's on Amazon Prime, and if you got it, you can see it for free. It's 1 hour with a little wraparound of explanation because it's not like a regular special of me getting suggestions thrown at me and going cold in front of an audience and trying to piece it together into one idea.
And that's
for everybody who's not watching, who's listening, it's called Rick Overton's Set List Live on Amazon Prime, right, Rick?
That's it.
That is it.
And
that's the beautiful thing.
That's how to look it up on Prime.
That's it. And that's the thing about it. It's like, you know, it doesn't always. Comedy is a beautiful thing to be. It's and especially improv, you know, and you never know how it's going to go. Like, have you ever done that where you have a show and it's like amazing? The audience, I mean, they can't get enough of you, and then the next show you lays there like they think you're from the moon.
An improv crowd sometimes can be someone who's never seen it before and is just very open to the idea. But a lot of times it's people who have a little bit of jazz knowledge. They go to the jazz club. They know a little bit about what they're looking for to see an improv show, and hopefully we exceed their expectations with the madcap pace of the game that Troy Conrad came up with called Set List, where they just put a projection screen behind you. They just throw weird, see, it's not like airline food and dating and stuff like that. It's really strange blended words, and you know, they make it more of a challenge that way. I get myself in trouble more than once in the special.
So I have a question. How do you sell that? Like when you go in to sell that show, they go, well, you go, here's what I'm gonna do, and they go, well, show me. You know, it's like when Jimmy it's like when Jimmy Brogan used to go, I can never audition. He goes, I have to walk in there and go, so to the guy, so where are you from? What do you do for a living?
Jimmy Brogan, man who knows where everyone is from.
Those who don't know, Jimmy Brogan used to book the Tonight Show for people at home that aren't in the business.
Oh, did he book it? I didn't know he booked it.
Oh, yeah.
I just knew he was an angel. That's all I knew. Out of the blue.
And for anyone who's watching and or if you're listening and you don't know, if you haven't seen Rick's an actor, and if you remember, my favorite thing, of course, is Groundhog's Day. I just love because he's one of the two guys that, you know, Bill Murray gets drunk with and whatever, and it's that whole thing. And
Rick Dukeman and me.
Rick Dukeman and you, yes.
Oh, Rick. Oh, he was so funny.
And I just
I got a story about that movie. I was flying to LA once, and I did a show the night before, and I was exhausted. And then I put the movie on because usually the movie will make me go to sleep. I fall asleep. No, I'm serious. I fall asleep.
That's a compliment.
Be quiet. Shut up. I fall asleep and I wake up at least 5 times in the same scene where it keeps going into Groundhog's Day. And I had no idea what was going on. I was like, I got to see this movie. And I saw it. It was great. But it was just funny. But it's like, I didn't know if I was asleep. I didn't know if I woke up. I just saw that before I fell asleep again.
And his plane was over the same state each time.
Yeah, the alarm clock just flipping over, right? And then oh my goodness.
Did you get to do any improv on that? Did you get to? I mean, obviously you've had a huge career, you know. I'm just talking about this one for now, but we'll get to other stuff. But was any of that scripted, or was that a lot of improv? Because that looked like improv to me.
Came up with a lot of that shenanigans right there on the spot, because you know Harold Ramis was a Second City man,
right?
So like I came up with a lot of the slipping and sliding around, trying to open the door, do a little Dick Van Dyke straight leg slide down, and you know, get up again. And I wanted to be on the edge of vomiting the whole time.
Yeah. That's my favorite line in the movie when Bill Murray asks you, like, you know, you want to throw up here or in the car, and you're like, both.
And Flapjacks, Bill whispered that to me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I said Flapjacks. Oh yeah, okay.
Flapjacks. I love that.
Go for some Flapjacks right now.
Oh, well, welcome to the show, man. We're just gonna just I guess we're just gonna BS. We're just gonna like hang out and what are we talking about? I'm excited about this new generation.
Yeah,
I think
no,
that they're gonna change
I'm
the world.
agreeing with you. I'm
I
totally
think they're like the
agreeing with you.
kids from the 60s. They're gonna finally, I think we have that thing again. You know, maybe it's not gonna be Haight Ashbury, but it's gonna be a huge change and it's gonna be towards the youth, and that's as it should be, you know.
Yeah.
Well, the boomers are going to hate that it's not about them anymore, but they got to do something sort of like the original proprietors of all of this land did, and that was think several generations ahead of yourself and don't worry about a name plaque. Just worry about there's going to be some kid that's never fucking heard of you that's going to benefit from what you did, and you don't get a thank you for it, but that's the way it works.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm just trying to find some goofy thing that young people like to laugh at old guys about, and that'll be my thing. That'll be my new shtick. Look at the old guy fell down. Whatever.
Well, that old badass is a American like favorite thing. They got movies about old badasses. Bob Odenkirk, the old
right,
a killer guy,
Well, the old man, what's his name? Jeff Bridges, man, has got a whole show on that where he's this,
he's assassin, but he can still throw a punch.
Yeah, I love it. Which is and now that's another thing about Rick. I love. Are you still doing that? What is it that Israeli Krav was? I can never say it. I always think Tug McGraw. It's
I still practice at home, but I was studying with Master Mike Burton.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Last time I ran into Rick one time and he's like, "Can you do this?" And I don't know how old you were at the time, but he put his his foot right by my face, and I'm like, "Holy shit, man! What are you like?"
Old people love to show things off to show they're young. They love it. But I say martial arts have helped me stay a little more limber than the average person's supposed to be at 68.
Yeah.
Same here.
Well, so you guys got that in common. Yeah. Oh man, Rick's into what's the name?
No. I mean, Craig does martial arts.
Yeah. See?
That foot wasn't attached then.
Yeah. What does it say? What's the style?
The jiu-jitsu. I was high as a green belt in jiu-jitsu. I know enough to block a punch and run.
I can chop a peanut butter sandwich with my hand. I mean, I don't know.
There you go.
Ed O'Neill is not to be toyed with.
And is he black belt?
He played with. No. He can put you to sleep in 2 seconds.
Ed O'Neill?
Well, he's a big guy, isn't he?
He's a BJJ master teacher, black belt.
Oh, geez, really?
But he's also not a small physically. He looks like a big guy.
Yeah.
I've seen some comics that can put you to sleep in 2 minutes.
What's that?
I've seen some comics that can put you to sleep in 2 minutes.
Oh man, yeah. So John, you're surprised that I knew jiu-jitsu?
Well, I thought the way you talk about it, like you know him personally.
Like I took Taekwondo when I was a kid, man. I was pretty, I'll tell you what, man. That's another thing. My father had taught me a little bit of stuff, but it's amazing to me because if you can use your opponent's energy against him, then you're pretty, because you got your own and you got his. I mean, there's a lot of.
The only thing I know about martial arts is I sat next to Ralph Macchio at the Islander games.
Well, there you go.
That crane move.
And he told me he was going to be, in a karate movie. And I was like, I was just thinking, this is going to be shit. This is going to be like one of those
lip sync, one of those lip movies,
those dubbed karate movies, Yeah,
that crane move is totally indefensible, by the way. It's so easy, just push him over. There you go. Goodbye. Yeah, no, it's good. My brother is a 7th degree black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's registered in Korea. He did fight Steven Seagal once. My brother. He flew out to Hollywood. There was going to be a demonstration, and he was chosen to spar with Steven Seagal. And my brother's attitude about it was, Steven Seagal is a Hollywood guy. There's going to be nothing. And he said Steven Seagal threw him around like a rag doll. He goes, Steven Seagal is incredibly powerful. That's what he said.
Yeah, did you guys know Richie Baratheon? that used to be the bouncer at the East Side Comedy Club? Richie Baratheon was like apparently one of the highest rated karate guys in the country. He was Mick Jagger's bodyguard for a while.
Yeah, and he was nuts.
And he was nuts. Yeah, it was crazy. But I was riding in a car with him once, and he says to Richie Minervini, if I were just to go like this and punch you in the arm, like not even hard, do you think it would really hurt? And Richie goes, yeah, I'm sure it would hurt. And he goes, no, he goes, I won't wind up. I'm just going to hit you like this. And Richie goes, go ahead. So he hits Richie in the arm. And the next day, Richie goes, look at this shit. And he lifts up his shirt, and the whole side of his body was black and blue. And Richie goes, yeah, that was from your organs banging up against your rib cage.
That's power whole body, 1 inch.
Nuts.
Rick,
Really
you were going to say
nuts.
something.
Yeah, Rick, you were going to say. No, yeah. No.
The point is 2 exits back.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Now we're on the Jersey Turnpike.
There you go. What exit? Anyway, that's like the Jersey joke.
I was thinking the Jersey Turnpike. I don't know if you were too, but that's exactly what I was thinking.
Of course.
Very weird you would say that, but we all have an East Coast influence, all of us.
We're comics. How many gigs did we drive to on the Turnpike and the Garden State Parkway? Oh my gosh.
Oh man, I just remember the Jersey. I mean, I did a lot of gigs, but I remember Lake Hopatcong. That was a nice club out there.
Rick will remember Jerry Stanley.
Jerry Stanley, had those plaid 70s suits that had the wider lapels and everything like that. I would do the same thing. I always remember he always wore the plaid. Jerry had that plaid.
And then
Rick,
Jim
did you ever
Palazzo.
work Betty's Fireside, Rick, by any chance? Oh my God, really?
Yeah, ages and ages. We're almost talking 40 plus years ago.
Yeah.
Jim Palazzo. Do you remember?
The scars are still there, though. The scars are still there.
Do you remember Jim Palazzo's?
Palazzo.
Yep. I
remember he was the cheapest person in the world. I remember once we went to a diner with him, and he was back in those days. I guess he was overserved on some pharmaceuticals that had a number 720. Anyway, he
was that a Quaalude, man? 720. Wait, that was
So anyway, we go into
I never did drugs, but is that a Quaalude?
Let's do a lemon.
We go into the diner. He orders breakfast. He falls asleep in his eggs, then sits up and knocks him on the floor twice. The manager comes up and says, if he does it one more time, he's going to have to leave the diner, right? So this is the funniest. You can't even write this. So they decide we're going to take him out to the car. He's basically unconscious. We're dragging him out of the car, and he wakes up out of a coma and goes, receipt. He wanted to receipt for the
so he can write it off. Oh my God.
Receipt. It's like, are you kidding?
Well, Jersey was Palazzo's. It was Phil Selman. It was Dennis Ross. It was Mike Austin.
There was one guy. I don't even want to say his name because
I don't know one of those.
I threatened to remove him from the roles of
that's
the
because
living.
that's because you were a successful comic. That's why.
I didn't know one of. Do you know those? Did you know that was after our time? I think.
Maybe.
All I know is I just remember this one guy, and he was legendary for not paying comics, and I didn't know that until after I worked for him. And so I called this guy up, and like I said, I'm not going to mention his name because I offered to remove him from the roles of the living. And this is what I said to him. I said, listen, I worked the club a couple of weeks ago. I haven't got my check yet. And I left a message because he wouldn't answer the phone. I said, I want you to look at my headshot, take a look at who I am, and decide if you want to pay me or not. I said, you'd rather spit in the president's face than not pay me, because I will be. And I swear I got a call like the next day from his secretary to checks in the mail. I mean, I scared the shit out of this guy. And for those that don't know, I look a little intimidating in person. We lost Mr. Overton's picture.
You scared Rick.
I scared him.
I bet his phone died.
Oh.
Oh, he got a call.
Oh.
Let it ring.
It's that Booker. That owed him money.
One of those spam alert calls.
Oh,
I love those, man. My car warranty and whatever. It's There's a
Oh,
guy,
man.
there's talking about TikTok. There's a guy on TikTok that I just love, and that's what he does. He calls up these
the spammers
the
guy.
spammers, the
Oh,
ones
man.
who try to, really cheat people out of money. And he like deletes all their files.
He's a hacker. He's a hacker. He hacks
gets
them.
money back
Hacker.
from them. He hacks them and he gets. I love that. I just love it.
He's a reverse hacker. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Hey,
great.
John, you must have worked for King Broder then.
Oh yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
he was the early guy, right?
Now wait, was that his real name, King?
King Broda. Bob
names-
Woods used to go, I don't work for anybody. His first name is King. I refuse to call him King.
Yeah, no kidding. Who the hell names a kid King?
I just
We
remember.
wait, this is really
That's
funny.
the dog. You named the dog King.
Yeah, I know.
He's right. He's right. The first commercial I ever saw for Eastside Comedy Club was like, food fit for a king. Here, king.
Here, King, here, King.
All right.
So this was the big scam with King Broda, right? I was at a meeting with Bob Woods and Dave Hawthorne and 3 big guys, right?
Walrus,
I was the
Walrus,
small
Walrus.
guy out of
Walrus.
all of them.
Walrus.
So anyway, we were convinced that King Broda had a button underneath his desk that he could step on that made his phone ring. And this is how the conversation would go. I'm lucky enough I'm going to book you 3 guys at this gig. How much does it pay? Bring. Yeah. Sinatra? Yeah, of course I can get you Sinatra. You want Dino too? All right. What were we talking about? Money. How much money? How much? Bring. Hey. And it was like anytime money was like the phone would go off.
He did have that button, and then he sold it to Matt Lauer. Thank you. I'm here all week. Thank you.
I mean, it was really funny. It was just really funny. And then I guess his secretary's name was Helen.
That's hilarious, dude.
Or yeah, I think it was Helen, because anytime it got into this thing, no, we need to know what we're getting paid now. Helen, can you bring those papers?
Ring.
I met them. Roger Sullivan and I, Overton and Sullivan, took a meeting with King Broder and Helen.
It was Helen, right?
I think it was Helen, yeah. And she would come out and say, "The king will see you now."
Yes.
See, I didn't even know that. You were part of a team?
That's awesome.
You were
That's
part
so
of a team?
funny.
I didn't know that.
Part of a
Yeah,
team.
Overton and Sullivan from like 73 to 78.
Nice.
Wow.
Now, where were you based? You're in the East Coast?
Yeah.
Why? I didn't
Yeah.
know. I'm sorry
Out
for
of
not
New
knowing.
And then New York.
And then
Oh, there you go.
yeah, man.
We had broken up because you start out when you're working for free, it's all art, and you were more brilliant. No, the second they start to pay you with a check, 1 check, they don't give you 2 checks for a contract. You got paid the same amount as the guy ahead of you. And so the whole drive home, it's whose premise was more important than whose punchline,
Yeah.
And back in those days, the money was so much that it didn't really matter.
Well, you guys had the support. I mean, Rick's dad was a famous musician. Your dad was a famous jazz musician, right? I mean, he was a professor. He played with Thelonious Monk.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, if you guys didn't know that, I mean, so
you can get a hold of a documentary called The Jazz Loft. That's my dad's loft.
Oh,
Wow.
cool.
Cool. That's awesome.
From 54 to 64.
So
Very
you probably
cool.
didn't get any flack when you went into the business, because I mean, like, show business was in the family already, right? We got a supportive.
He subconsciously was guiding me into it. We figured out later because he loved Jonathan Winters and Bob Newhart
Mm.
and Godfrey Cambridge, and was playing me all these albums as a kid. And he'd sit me down in front of the TV and we'd watch Jonathan together, because Dad lived in a world where you see funny lives on the other side of cool.
Mm.
Like, you can't be too cool and also be very hard. Almost nobody can pull off being cool and funny at the same time.
Right.
It never holds. It's never the same as a self-depreciating guy. Much stronger for that guy because the audience relates more to it. But when you're a jazz musician, you got to be cool.
Yeah.
Cool
Yeah.
is all what you don't show.
Right.
Whereas being a comedian is what you do show.
that was the Lenny Bruce kind of a thing. Lenny Bruce was that cool jazz
He
Yeah, he
comedian.
did it for a while, but it didn't hold forever.
No, it didn't hold forever.
well, so did Carlin. Same thing.
Well, in a way, he was so loose. He got out of the fact that he wasn't revealing as much about himself.
That's right.
Pryor was nothing but if it was a big 10K lamp on the top of a tower, and George is shining it on the terrain, the surround, and Richard spun it around and just bombed himself in his own face with that same light.
Yeah, I mean, Carlin was almost a philosopher.
When he first started, Carlin was very straight, and he was almost trying to be too cool for the room. And then that's when he started peeling off the layers.
He was always too cool for the room.
Yeah,
he's one of my idols for sure, man. You know, it's but
Well,
I was
it's-
going to ask Rick. I was going to ask Rick. You know, the thing about his father is a musician. I've always believed really a lot of the close. It's almost like symbiotic between there's like a musical. There's a musical aspect of comedy, rhythm, and music, and I think there's a place where they both kind of exist. And I was wondering if that's something you were conscious of.
Yeah, I used to say in my act that the blues, country western, and comedy all have one thing in common: they are all complaining to a rhythm. Something's gone wrong, and you're talking about truck. She took the fucking truck and the dog, and here's my song. And the blues, my woman's cheating on me. Here's my song. You won't believe what happened to me today. Here's my joke.
right.
And you got to use rhythm. You can hear the different styles have their different musical rhythms. So when you know a comedian well enough, and they're gonna default to that rhythm.
One of the greatest
rhythm. That's where you're supposed to be.
One of the greatest examples I've ever had of that personally, and it's happened a couple of times in my time, is that you will say something in rhythm that might be a setup. It's not part of a joke, and the crowd laughs, and you realize it's the rhythm is a huge part of the laughs you're getting. And even you're just setting up the next joke. They're laughing at something that's not funny because you're still in that rhythm. It's really interesting.
That's like what you used to say.
Jack Benny used negative space and silence like a Jedi.
Right.
Yeah. Love Jack Benny.
Well, that's like one time someone did an impression of Minervini. I forget it was. And they didn't even say anything, but just did his cadence. And it was hysterical. Right. They go like
Dennis Wolfberg. Dennis Wolfberg had a rhythm, man. I love.
Yeah, Wolfberg had a great.
But I think what's hardest for most comedians, and it's like
punch it like this, and that energy.
Love it.
And that's why, and Rick, and that's why I think Rick's a genius with what he does, because it's like the hardest thing for a comic. And I'm not blowing smoke up here because I love Rick, but it's the truth. For me, when I'm on stage, when they're not laughing, I feel like they're just, I feel like I'm getting punched in the guts. And that's what you got to stop looking for. Everything can't be. I mean, that was my thing. I wanted everything to be like, I wanted to actually kill somebody while I was on stage. I wanted them to die from laugh. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think to be thinking and in the moment and be able to have the courage to just go off anywhere you want. And that takes a lot of experience. And I can do that. And I've done it many times. But you make a living doing it. I mean, that's like, fuck.
Yeah, well, Rick does something even harder. I mean, I had an improv group for 5 years, and I'm nowhere the level that you are as an improviser. But to get that same kind of rhythm and that same kind of feeling like you're doing in your special, you're doing it off the cuff, off the top of your head, that's incredible to me. That means it's an internal rhythm that you just can't really duplicate.
Keep saying the magic word, rhythm. It'll get you through it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you stay with the rhythm, you might have a dip or two. And if you watch a special, there's a couple times I am in trouble. I got into trouble. I walked right that alley and I'm getting my ass kicked that I got to find a way out. But that's kind of part of the fun too, is what the hell am I going to do?
Yeah.
Does that turn you on though? I mean, does that really give you that charge? Okay, this one fell. All right. Then, because for me, that's when that little secret thing goes off in my mind and goes, all right, fuckers, I'll get you there.
It's not about the separate joke. It's about the ability to make jokes.
Hmm.
That's the only thing you're taking with you through it is the ability to make the next one.
Right.
I don't remember all the jokes I do in that because it's just going too fast.
Yeah.
I have to play it back and say, oh, and you can't. Some of them you can use again, and some they were meant to be right there.
Some of the best bits that I've ever done came up out of an improv. Like the last show I did, it was just happened to be one of the first shows I've done since COVID. I had the guts to go out in front of, and I did this whole thing on COVID night. You know how when we all first got the when the COVID started, you know how everyone was doing that Instacart and all that shit, and it's like, and I did this whole improv of me and my wife like peeking out the door. Oh, here he is! Oh shit! Look, he's coming up the door. You can see the COVID-19 on this fucking guy. Look at this, you know. And they would drop the groceries at the door, and we'd clean. So I did this whole improv, and I thought it was, you know, and it just came to me in the moment, and I had the courage to do it, and that's what I appreciate, you know, is not having to go with that thing, that set that I have there, but being able to deviate from it, you know?
Yeah.
It's your best friend.
Yeah.
And your creative life, you'll be known for one of two things. You'll either be known for how well you memorized and repeated, or how well you improvised.
Yeah.
And if you're going to keep creating forward, it'll also be how much you plagiarized from your own previous work.
Yeah.
So to build the improv muscle, that thing in the middle, that core strength, it's heightening your odds that you're going to make new things.
Yeah. That's what I'm going to look at my act from now on. I'm on a road and I'm going forward doing my act. And then here's an exit. I'm going to take this exit. I'm going to go explore the town, but I'm going to eventually come back to the highway, you know, and that's that jazz of it. You know what I mean? Being able to have a direction but not being too locked into it, so that I can actually go this way and that way and just do that jazz harmony thing, you know?
That's why I write for a lot of other comics, because if I sit and watch a comic do a set, my mind gets into the rhythm and I can write almost in their voice. I mean, you know, not all the time, but I come up with tags and different things because I get into the rhythm. To me, it's very, very rhythmic. It really is.
And like Rory Rosegarden used to tell us all the time, embrace the silence.
Which is the hardest thing to do.
You know?
Yeah, it is hard.
Otherwise, you established a style you can't live up to.
Right.
Can't fill that space the entire time without just burning yourself out. If you train everybody to love those little beats of silence in between, you can take, the whole thing stretches out beautifully. And you also give the crowd a chance to reset. They can stop laughing after a certain point because you ran them too hard in the park.
Yeah.
Pryor used to do that so well, man.
It's funny you say that. I was just watching Here and Now a little bit, and they were talking about how he would go on stage and he would improv a bunch of stuff. And so then he'd get this stuff that worked, and he'd get 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes. And when he got up to 40 minutes of good stuff, then he knew he could do another special. But it would all be come out of him improving on stage and having the courage to just go up there and do whatever.
Yep. Yeah.
You build it. You build the reputation that you can, and eventually, hopefully, the crowd comes in with that expectation because of them knowing you do this.
That's it.
It draws people that want to see that in particular.
Well, how are you on?
That's the ideal. That's what you're going.
And I think the hard thing today is how are you on this? It's like everyone's afraid to they're either afraid or they're going overboard. Everyone's afraid to talk about politics, to talk about this, talk about that, because of cancel culture, you know, and all that stuff. And it's like, or whatever. I always looked at it, listen, I'm going to whoever's going to be attracted to my shit's going to be attracted. Whoever's going to hate me is going to hate me. And I've had people hate me even before I open my mouth. You know, you get on stage and, you know, you look the way I look. They've already made up their mind.
I apologize for that, Mike. I apologized.
Yes. You know, I've had people like, you know, prejudge and go, this can't be funny. Look at this guy, you know, tattoos, shaved head, the whole nine, you know. So
you win them over, though. I mean, you're funny is funny. It doesn't.
Well, but and Rick had pointed out before, it's got to be that was that self-deprecation, because I'd come up there looking like a killer, you know, and then just play it with that whole thing against, you know, like I'm just oblivious, you know, I don't know who I am. I'm just a guy. You're looking at me like I'm dangerous, but I'm just picking flowers.
It's harder for a really beautiful girl or a really strikingly Hollywood looking guy to get the same laughs as someone who has more, let's just say, relatable looks.
Mhm.
That's Freddie Stoller.
Yeah, really. Character types, yeah.
Yeah.
They can get your side of the story more.
Yeah.
Well, that's
absolutely.
why didn't we discuss this after we watched what's his name's last special?
Chris Rock.
Sorry, just what Chris Rock. He were the thing that was so weird was Chris Rock was like the ghetto kid that everyone loved. And this last special was always talking about how rich he was and how he spoiled his kids.
Yeah.
And how, you know what I mean? Which was kind of like, I don't think people want to hear how rich Chris Rock is.
No, I don't know. I think the only one who's ever pulled that
You know what I'm
off.
saying? I think it
to me,
changed his whole
Ricky,
dynamic.
Ricky Gervais is the only one I've ever seen pull something like that off, like that I'm better than you kind of comedy, where I'm not like you, I am, you know, I can buy and sell you. And he does it masterfully, and he's about
he's a brilliant comic. Richie Gervais is a brilliant
Yeah.
comic. And you know, and for Americans, just that English accent is charming.
The one thing about Chris Rock, though, is he's always honest about he speaks out of honesty. So I mean, to not talk about that would probably be not be in his wheelhouse, right?
No, I guess. I mean,
I don't know, but it's everyone kind of that all the reviews kind of felt the same way, you know.
I think he could be true to himself without bringing that aspect into it. I'm sure there's plenty of other aspects of his life without talking about money. But
well, I'm sure he tested the material. He just,
yeah, that's why they had that after show after he tested that material.
Chappelle was talking about "I'm rich, bitch" and all of that, you know, and that was the time when we weren't in the gigantic downturn that we are now.
That's true.
So a lot of things are the tone of a nation, what they can absorb and laugh back at changes as the conditions for those people change. Things get tougher. You can't push all the same buttons that you used to be able to and expect it to go the same way. You suddenly, well, how come I'm stepping on mines? They were never mines here before.
Yeah.
Planted by circumstance, their economic, financial circumstance.
Yeah, great point.
It is a good point. And the thing is, and then the next step is, you know, not just socioeconomical, but also now you get into more the political aspect of it. Whereas you may have, it happened with Mike. Mike booked me at a place up near Edwards Air Force Base, and I didn't realize how conservative it was up there. And I go up and I do a joke that's kind of anti-Trump, and I thought people were going to throw silverware at me. You know, you got to kind of know your audience, and you kind of know where to stay, and you have to balance. That's I never really had to do that before. I mean, years ago, but now,
yeah, but even now, I did another show up here, which is not, like I said, I'm up by Edwards, and one of the comics did a whole bunch of Trump, and he was hilarious, and you know what, they loved him.
Well, I wasn't funny. That's the other thing. I wasn't funny.
Well, there's always that, yeah. So we weren't going to say it. We were waiting for you to bring it out. You know, that's just, you know.
It was I had some good stuff. I'm sorry. It was good jokes. So screw that.
And there's that.
And there's being not funny. Thank you so much. Yeah, I never thought of that. You have to be funny.
Oh, it's so funny when you think about comedy is just like every day is another lesson in education.
You know what though?
You learn something that and then, you know, it's like, look, we've all been in this business long enough. We can walk into a room before there's anybody in there, like a ballroom, and go, this is never going to work.
Nah.
You can just look at the room and know it's not going to work.
But that's not necessarily, other people think that. I always think I can win. I don't care who it is. I always think I can win.
There's certain things you can't, there's certain things that you can't.
But Mike, you have
it's not going to work.
Matter of fact, I think Rick was there at this gig. I did a gig years ago, and Patty came. My wife came with me, and Rick was there, and it was almost a solid black audience. And my wife was scared. She goes, and because she said this recently to me. She goes, I said to Rick, I go, oh my God, I'm nervous. They're going to hate him. And Rick said to her, you said to her, he said, don't worry, comedy's universal. And I went on stage, and almost from word one, they like were rolling, they were loving it. And you know, and that was it. You know, it's like I've always done well with varied audiences because I don't look at them as any different. I do what I do, you know.
You reminded me of a really funny story. I was working with John Schuler. He booked me in this place in the Bronx. And I go up there and I walk in and I go, I'm the comic. And the owner goes, oh, man, I told him not to send me any more white guys. I mean, and it was a whole black audience. And and the guy goes to me, you better win these guys over fast or you're dead. That's what the owner said to me.
Yeah.
So I went up on stage. I went, hi, everybody. Who plays hockey?
Oh,
that was like Paul Provenza had to work this prison this one time, and he said he walked out on stage and he was actually behind bars on the stage, and they were all whistling at him and like cat calls.
See, there's a good-looking guy.
He said he walked out on stage and he just went, Jesus Christ, somebody open a window and open a door. It's hot in here. He said, and they just went crazy.
See, he's an example of a good-looking comic that gets laughs. He's a handsome one. I mean, is it
That's
just
right?
me?
And his energy took him ahead of it.
You know?
Energy beat that one. So Sarah Silverman, sweet but incomprehensibly dark on the other side.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love her. Oh my God.
And an 8-ounce boxing glove, the kind that hurts. The thin MMA glove. And she tickle, bam.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
That's style. She will shudder you. Or the highly inappropriately sexuals will sometimes get you through.
Yeah. Unless you look like me.
Overcome their resentment of an appearance thing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other good-looking comics. Well, Kenny Rogerson. I think he's good-looking. He's funny as hell. Another guy.
You can do it.
Yeah.
See, I don't look at other comics and go, God, he's a good-looking guy. I don't know. I mean,
Well, you know, I'm a little bit different than you, Mike.
Yeah.
The crowd, though, you can see the crowd will, and you got to watch it. They can't do that arrogant, hey, I'm good looking thing unless they're playing the jerk of it. That's a very brave move, is to do it, play your darkest self ironically.
Yeah.
Like Ben Creed.
And now what this does is it's really interesting because it's a form of therapy you never would have thought was, because you're taking something you're not crazy about within yourself and you're making money with it.
Yeah.
And everyone loves that you're doing it. And suddenly this trait you would secretly hate yourself for becomes a friend and an employee. And that's the good thing about comedy. If you have the wherefore to know where your own shit goes.
Yeah. That's going to be the name of my next album. I'm not serial killer. I'm a hot serial killer. I'm the cream of wheat, the cream of wheat killer.
Part of a healthy breakfast.
There you go.
It's a part of a healthy breakfast.
That's it.
Yeah, perfect example of that. Again, we brought him up the second time, is Freddie Stoller. I mean, Freddie Stoller knew he was like this nerdy guy and just played to the 10th power, you know?
Oh, nothing's funnier than
me. I'll do it.
What's that?
I'll go nuts.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Oh, yeah.
Nuts. A lot of people do that style now. He's the first guy I heard going, I'll go crazy, I'll do it. And then something really banal and not pushing.
It's hilarious to see this.
That he did that. And he uses his looks to sell that style. Other people do it the same.
Do that.
Yeah.
The word's got to go out of the Fred mouth.
It's hilarious. You see this skinny little wimpy guy, and if anyone likes listening doesn't know Fred Stoller, it's just this and like, you don't want a piece of this, man. You don't want it's hilarious. You're right.
Rick, do you know Howard Feller? Do you know Howard Feller?
Howard Feller, another guy that had know your look.
Yeah, I don't know why he's not playing the leader in Marvel. He should. That's who he is. He's the leader.
The leader in Marvel. Yeah,
he should be.
Yeah. Well, they use a lot of pop nerds and real life nerds in that chain there. I think they're very smart. Cast people and it fills every other guy with the hope that maybe they'll cast me.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know what's the next superhero that they're going to change gender or change something. I don't know.
think they're destroying the entire franchise of everything.
Yeah.
Very
It's-
fortunately, Marvel has two aces up their sleeves right now, and they have the Fantastic Four and they have X-Men. That's going to save them down the line. You watch.
I don't know. I'm maybe other people. I'm not a huge fan of those. It's like, first of all, Marvel movies, I'm kind of rubbed out on them anyway. It's kind of tired of them.
Rubbed
Just
out,
because washed out is a better word, Craig, you big freaking homo, you. Anyway. Rubbed out on him, huh?
Remember, it's okay for him to say that because it's
wait.
true.
There's the Hulk. Oh, I'm gonna beat on. No, anyway.
Oh, Ben Grimm. It's clobbering time.
But I mean, I understand. Listen, Marvel has to compete with video games, and that's why everything has to be special effect. But it's like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just old school. I can't watch every goddamn thing's a special effect. There's no acting anymore. There's no story anymore.
No consequences anymore.
No consequences.
Thrown to the wall, and he goes, "Why you?" And he gets back into the fight. The only people who hurt are the people who live in those buildings they smash through.
Yeah.
They're just filling up their private fight. They've all become these sociopathic, fuck the collateral damage people. And we're supposed to worship them like the battles of our gods in the Bible that would smite entire areas of innocent people,
Yeah.
You know what, Rick? I forgot to bring this up. Were you a little disappointed that the Brownies weren't in the Willow spinoff series?
Oh, well, yeah, Kevin made it in.
Well, I meant both of you guys is what I meant. Yeah. I didn't even watch it. Kevin was in it?
He made it in.
Oh, you should have been in it too, man. You were both
Yeah.
Brownies.
Give me the number. Give me somebody's number because I will make a call.
Yeah, let's
man.
call.
I mean,
Let's protest outside Disney.
don't fuck with Rick Overton, man.
That was it. They're gone. Show's canceled.
Show's canceled, man. It's over. It's
Well,
over.
the showrunner said they're doing a season 2. That's what he said. I don't know what that means, but maybe some other
Well, I
networks.
heard they were canceled. I'm sorry to hear it, but
Yeah.
you never. Let's just keep our fingers crossed, and you never
Yeah.
know.
But
You
I like
know,
what you were
I-
saying too about the. You're right. It's like all the people that live in those buildings. Hancock. If you remember the movie Hancock, a Will Smith
Love
movie.
Hancock.
Who that's the thing. The whole thing was the consequences. Yes, he had all these powers and the shit he do, and I love it. They brought it to how it affected the people around. Like, okay, yeah, I saved this guy's life, but I just derailed this huge train, and 10,000 people are inconvenienced.
Call me an asshole.
Overall sociopathy in entertainment right now. And it's the same in action films because the action hero of the older days, and I'll say Popeye probably changed all that with the French Connection, where there was starting to be collateral damage during a chase. But before that, it was always the hero would not endanger innocent people.
Yeah.
Catch the bad guy. Bad guy got to get away then. But then it became so fanatical, I got to get you, that I'll run over moms with the baby buggies and all that shit,
Yeah.
I will take someone, get out of your car. Wait, my mother's medicine, and get out of the car. Why? Gunmen are after me. So I got to get in your car and then drive the wrong way down the freeway in traffic while the gunmen shoot at me, but miss and hit everybody else's car. Vans full of elderly are flipping and ramming into the divider. Hey, at least I got away because I'm the hero.
Yeah.
Like the Man of Steel, they had a huge fight in Metropolis, and they figured it out that almost 200,000 people would have died during that fight. Because Superman was fighting Zod. It just, it gets just ridiculous after a while.
Do without your fucking protection.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, but no thanks, alien. Thank you.
Yes. Oh man, this has been a great show, man. Rick, it's so good just to hang out with you, man. I just love you, brother. I can't help myself.
Brother, thanks for the invite. Let's do it more often.
Yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be great.
I mean, like I don't know if you even remember this. I was reading for Ed TV. Me and Rick went in together. We were reading for these two brothers. We both actually wound up working on the film. But this is what kind of a man Rick Overton is. We walk into Ron Howard's office for an audition. Ron Howard gets up and walks towards us because he knows Rick. Rick shakes his hand, introduces me, and says, "This is Mike Grief." Mike is a really funny guy. And how many people do that? How many people
really
do
nice,
that?
yeah.
I mean, like, and I got the
Right.
part, and I probably got the part half on your endorsement, you know. And plus, I'm friends with Clint and whatever, but still, that was so fucking awesome because people don't do that generous kind of thing anymore.
Rob Schneider's another guy. He does that.
Wow.
Schneider. He'll look out.
Well, if I ever run into a man, I'll definitely.
I know you look out for your other performers. Thanks for looking out for me, inviting me on today to talk, because this was great.
Absolutely, man. And you know, anytime, if I can ever do anything to help you, I would, because you're like I said, you're one of my idols.
Right back at you.
Just to show it again, we're
There you
showing
go.
the Rick Overton
There it
set list live.
If you guys are listening out there, man, check it out. Rick Overton's Set List Live. It's on, what's it on Amazon?
Amazon.
Amazon Prime. You can also
Amazon
it's also
Prime.
available to purchase or rent on YouTube.
That's it. Support your local comic.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, well, gentlemen, this was great. That's a good way to
This was
start.
fun.
Yes.
Thank you for being here, Rick.
Thanks for being here, Rick.
Likewise, thank you. The same, guys.
And your internet was awesome.
The
Your
internet
was
worked.
awesome.
All right.
All right. Well, I guess we need to wrap it up then. Let's thank
Sure.
Rick for being here.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Rick.
And
Thank you,
let's
Jeff.
thank Mr. Bad over there, Mike Grief,
Yeah, look at that. Look at that.
and Craig Mitchell.
Kenny
Hello,
Rogerson,
Danny.
my phone number.
You can't conceal those guns.
I want to give Kenny and Kenny Rogerson. I'll leave my phone number in the comments. Thank you.
Oh my God.
Yeah. All right. Now we're picking up guys and during the show.
Why
Okay.
not? Let's do it.
Nice. Oh my God, I'm speechless.
You are. It's
Well,
awesome.
John, tell us where they can see the show.
Yeah, that's
You
a
can
good
see
idea.
the show on the Strong Island TV app. You can see us on, you can listen to us on the podcast playground.
Shaquille
You can
O'Neal's
listen to
podcast
us.
playground.
Yeah, you can listen to us on Apple podcasts,
Spotify,
Facebook,
Roku.
Spotify, or
Twitch.
any place where you listen to your podcasts.
Yep,
Just
we're
just
everywhere.
type in porn and we'll come up.
No,
just-
don't do that. No.
no, don't do that.
No porn.
The Big Bad Broadcast.
The Big Bad Broadcast. And we're recording from our new studio.
There you go. That's it. All
We're
right,
moving
man.
up, buddy. Moving
All
up.
right. See you guys
Peace,
next week.
everybody.
Ha ha ha!